Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 2nd of June. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast, presented as always by our title sponsor. Everything ZASLOW Show 2.0 is presented by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. None of this is possible without the support from day one from the best accident attorneys around. Anidjar and Levine accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. We are the day after Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Not the way we wanted it to go, but I got to tell you, I know a lot of you guys, loyal ZASLOW Show 2.0 listeners. I love you guys. You guys are waiting. You can't wait to hear what I got to say today. And this is one of those days where, and we had a couple of these, last week, it was after Game 5, right? Yeah, it was after Game 5 against Boston, where I'm going to make you feel better about that loss. And then there was also after Game 6 against Boston. I was not going to make you feel better about that loss. So you're coming into today's show saying to yourself, man, I wonder if ZASLOW is going to make me feel better. I don't feel real good about last night. Or maybe you're on the same page as me, and I feel just fine about last night. I think, and I tweeted this out after the game last night, I strongly believe we are going to be fine. Now, I believe the Heat are going to win this series. So when I say the Heat are going to be fine after what happened last night, I'm not sitting here saying, it's okay, we're going to win this. Now, I do think we're going to win the series. But what I'm telling you when I say we're going to be fine, it means I don't care what took place last night. It's one game. This is not going to be easy. If we're going to beat Denver, it's going to be in a long series. They are better than us. But we've shown that the sum of our parts can be as good as anyone out there. And I think we are going to be, I know we are going to be fine after last night. We were never, we're going to win a sweep? Denver wasn't going to win a game? The Heat are going to be fine, all right? So everybody, calm down. So that's, in general, that's going to be the tone of today's show. The Heat are going to be fine. And we're also heading into a weekend. I'm super excited. Look, what an amazing weekend we got, right? First of all, it's Friday. We made it. We did it, everybody. We did it together. But it's Friday. So tonight, we got an opportunity. We can get loose. We're going to have some fun. Get yourself some Johnny Cuba. Official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Johnny Cuba, European roots with a Caribbean soul. A refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba this weekend. You got to get set. So we got major action this weekend. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba, your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. I already picked myself up a fresh 6-pack for the weekend. I love enjoying the games with the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, the only beer we drink in the ZASLOW Mansion. Remember, you always got to drink responsibly. That's what I do by drinking in the ZASLOW Mansion. Johnny Cuba, send me a picture. You're pouring your first glass. No foam, all right? Good pour. No foam. No foam. Send me a picture. I'll post it on my Instagram where I'm an influencer. And, of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So we got a great weekend coming up here. Tomorrow night, Panthers, Stanley Cup Game 1. You know what I'm talking about. And then Sunday, Heat. Let's get right back at it. The coach, Eric Spoelstra, you know how he is after the loss. We wish we could play right now. All right. I think an extra day is going to help, actually. I don't want to play right now. I'm good. Let's relax tonight. Let's get some Panther hockey in tomorrow night. Let's get back at game number 2 Sunday night. An extra day is right. It's actually crazy. Between now and Wednesday, we only have one game played. We're waiting until Sunday for game 2. And then we're getting an extra travel day. So we're not going to play game 1 in Miami until Wednesday. So between now and Wednesday, one game's going to have been played. Anyway, majority of the show today obviously going to be the Heat. But it's Friday. So there are things going on. I'm going to tell you if it's a big game or not a big game. And, hey, it's summertime. That means all the big movies are coming out. Spider-Verse came out today. Is that going to be a big movie or not a big movie today? I don't know. Maybe. You got to wait and see. All right? So, you know how we do it on Fridays. Got a fun show planned today. Glad to have you aboard here. All right. Hey, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that stuff. So, that's great for the algorithm. The algorithm gets me the monies. Love it. So, anyway, last night, my oldest son, Corey, he graduated moving up ceremony from middle school. So I got a high schooler. His last day of school essentially is today. I think it ends at noon today, actually. It ends really soon. Last day of school is today, and then they have a school trip all of next week. We didn't have anything like that when I went to public school. We didn't have anything like that when I was in school. So anyway, they had their graduation / moving up ceremony last night. And, Game 1 NBA Finals last night. So, the ceremony, now luckily, my wife is the principal, so she can move along the ceremony. Like she knows. All right, I know everybody wants a bit, at 7:30, it started at 7:30. I wish it started like 7, but it started at 7:30. And so she's telling them, all right, please take your seats, I from what I understand, we have a game at 8:30. Yeah, so she knows you got to move this thing along, all right? And we get to 8:25-ish. And I'm sitting right up front, of course. And I get the preferential treatment, all right? My wife's the principal. And we're running 8 deep in the seats. I got all the grandparents are here, all right? And I sneak out my phone. It's like 8:25, 8:20, 8:25. And I sent a text to my guy, Evan Cohen, Morning Men, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio. Great guy. Everybody knows that. And I just text him. I go, hey, so, time's tip-off here. Is it the usual 8:32 that ABC's been doing? Because 8:32, it might be tough for me. So it's 8:37. He goes, I think based on the countdown clock, I think we're looking at 8:37. I'm gonna cut it close. And the ceremony ended, I think, at like 8:38. So I'm watching the first few minutes of the game on my phone last night as, the ceremony ends. Everybody's got to get up. Everybody's shaking hands, hugs and kisses, all that good stuff, all right? So I wind up, I don't even get out of the gym until after the first quarter. So I'm watching the whole first quarter on my phone, which is fine. It's fine. But I got home for the start of the second quarter. Not that I didn't see the first quarter, but I'm watching the whole first quarter on the phone. I told you yesterday, we're going to be cutting it close. I don't know what the night has in store for me. Can't miss, I'm going to miss it. Come on. Can't miss my son's moving up ceremony. And here's the great thing about where we are nowadays, In a situation like that, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm missing the start of the game. And matter of fact, not only we missed the start of the game, but it's not like you have the internet on your phone where you can check out scores and whatever. When I was in college, so we're talking over 20 years ago, there was, we're all keeping track of our bets. But even if you just wanted to know the score of the game, that's really what it was for. We had a phone number. There was an 800 phone number that you would call and you say the game that you want the score of. I forget the name of it. And that's how you found out scores when you weren't home. So now how lucky are we? Like I'm at the ceremony last night. I got the Heat game on my phone. I'm watching the game. It's all good. So I get home for the start of the second quarter. And, Aaron Gordon killing us in the first quarter. I think he had all his points. Did he finish with 14? I think he had all 14 points in the first quarter. And I felt fine after the first. Look, we're down 29-20. We can't hit a shot. But that run there in the first quarter, I think the Heat were up 7-6. Was that our last lead of the game? I believe so. And then that run there, they went up it was like 16-8, I think then, or 18-10. And they never looked back. We never got close enough. The closest we got, so we're down by 17 at halftime. Score the first 2 baskets, 3-pointer, boom, 10-point game. Hey-o. So, all right. You know I always say that, right? The first few minutes of the third quarter in a double-digit game, the first few minutes, you got to preface that, in a double-digit game, the first few minutes of the third quarter are huge. And when I say double-digit game, I don't mean you can be down by 25. I'm talking like 17 like last night. The first few minutes of the third quarter are always huge. So if the Nuggets score the first couple baskets of the third quarter, all of a sudden they're up 21-22, that could be demoralizing. That could end the game right there. Or we go the other way. Do the Heat go on a 7-0 run? Well, and you're right back in it. And that's exactly what happened. So 7-0 run, the lead's now down to 10. And here, like, look, Bam was fantastic. He had a tremendous game. And he was really good, by the way, on both ends of the floor. You know, Jokic did his thing, triple-double, the assists, the rebounds, but it wasn't like this 40-some-odd point game. Like, he had an average Nikola Jokic game. That's not a slight, by the way. An average Nikola Jokic game is a triple-double. I'm not saying he had an average game. He had an average Nikola Jokic game, all right? So, which is an amazing game for everyone else in the league. But I think most nights, most games in this series, you would hold, if you held Nikola Jokic to an average game, to an average Nikola Jokic game, you're probably going to be okay with that if you're the Heat. Like Jokic's final numbers last night, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 14 assists. You know, it wasn't 42 points and 18 rebounds and 14 assists. That's an amazing Jokic game. Last night was an average Jokic game because average Jokic is always going to be incredible. It's better than everyone else in the league. So there's only so much you could do against him. So I thought Bam did a really good job against him. And Bam was terrific offensively. That's part of what's so frustrating. You know, I got really frustrated in Game 7 with Bam, and which I feel really bad about. But I got really frustrated because I was in the wrong. And when I say I was in the wrong about as critical as I was in the middle of the game about Bam in Game 7 was because I lost sight of something that I've always said is very important. Even when Bam isn't performing well on the offensive end, he's sensational 9 times out of 10 on the defensive end. And he was sensational in Game 7 on the defensive end. He was. And here's also the thing, if we're asking Bam to be great offensively, which we are, like that's the only way we're going to win this series, if Bam is great on both ends of the floor. That's a pretty heavy burden to bear because you're asking him to expend all kinds of energy on one end of the floor and all kinds of energy on the other end of the floor, so 0 breaks. You know, a guy like Max Strus. Is Max Strus expending all kinds of energy on the defensive end of the floor? Is he battling in the paint against Nikola Jokic every time? No. And that's why you need Max Strus not to be 0 for 10. Because we're not asking it from him on that end of the floor. We're asking it from Bam on both ends of the floor. And I lost sight of that in Game 7 against Boston, and I feel really bad about that. But anyway, Bam was sensational last night. Sensational. So, anyway, Bam was great. 26 points, 13 rebounds, 15 assists. He would have won if he had 15 assists. 5 assists. But they didn't get anything from anyone else. You didn't get any kind of offensive production from anyone. Well, I mean, Haywood Highsmith. But at that point, it's kind of garbage time. Although moving forward, it's like, all right, you like seeing Haywood Highsmith is without a doubt the next guy. Like, Haywood Highsmith is going to be why they don't keep either Max Strus or Gabe Vincent. My guess is Strus. Haywood Highsmith's going to be why they don't keep Max Strus. He's the next guy in line. So, and it looks like Highsmith will probably play this series over Kevin Love. Although I do believe that Love will have his moment this series. I always believe that. Just like last year in the postseason with Victor Oladipo, right? Oladipo was out of the rotation. Always knew he'd have his moment. And then in Game 4 against Boston, The Heat are up double figures at halftime, down 2-1. Jimmy can't play in the second half. He was hurt, remember? Victor Oladipo got the start in his place. He was phenomenal defensively. And then what was it in Game 5? He had a huge game. He had 20-something points, right? Oladipo, you knew was going to have his moment. I think Kevin Love is going to have his moment this series. That doesn't mean he's going to play every game, but there's going to be a game where the coach calls his number and he hits 2 huge threes. And he gets 8 or 9 rebounds in 12 minutes. Like, he's going to have his moment. But Haywood Highsmith's a player. Outside of Highsmith in a short burst, essentially. Excuse me. No, and Gabe Vincent was great. But obviously, 13 points for Jimmy, not going to cut it. Now, Jimmy also had 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He's good. They see how he was defended, and Jimmy's going to adapt. Starting on Sunday, Jimmy took no free throws. You think that's going to happen again? And we'll get to the free throw part. Obviously, everybody's going, hey, can Caleb Martin and Max Strus wake up? Listen, they're Caleb Martin and Max Strus. Now, I asked Bobby Marks, ESPN NBA front office insider, a couple days ago, is Caleb Martin a mirage or is this for real? He thinks it's for real. I'm not 100% sold, but it's Caleb Martin's first finals, and he is Caleb Martin. It's Max Strus' first finals, although was he on the team in 2020? He may have been. If he was, he didn't get any minutes. And so it's the first go-round for Strus. 0 for 10, 0 for 9 from 3, 0 points. So the two of them combined for 1 for 17. It's not going to happen again. I believe there are more things on Miami's side than on Denver's side that you can, like, more things on Miami's side that are going to get better as opposed to things on Denver's side that are going to get better. I think you could say moving on in this series. Jimmy's not going to go to the free throw line 0 times ever again this series. Martin and Strus are not going to have 1 for 17 ever again in this series. And look, I mean, can Robinson go 1 for 5 again? Yeah, he can have games like that. He can. But I think there's more reverting to the mean for Miami in a positive fashion than there is for Denver. Denver played well. But here's the thing with Denver. And I know how good Denver is. Denver's really good. I didn't see anything from Denver last night where I was like, whoa, this team is unbeatable. I didn't see that. They're really good, and they deserve to be here. And if they were to win this series, they deserve to be champions. But I wasn't watching the 2017 Warriors. I wasn't watching a team that, we got no chance against this team. I wasn't watching some all-time team. I didn't feel that. Like, did you feel that way? I didn't feel that I was watching a team that we just can't overcome. I watched a really good team in Denver play really well, and a Heat team not aggressive enough and missing all kinds of open shots. And all kinds of open three-point shots all throughout the game. And to me, the story of the game last night wasn't how great Denver played. Denver played great. But it's funny, Mark Jackson acknowledged it at one point during the game. Mike Breen set him up and said to him, how about this Denver defense tonight? And he said, I really think it's more about Miami missing all kinds of open shots. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Denver played really well. I don't believe the Heat shot 41% last night and were just 13 of 39 from 3 because of what Denver did. The Heat missed all kinds of open looks that they will make from here on out. I wasn't watching some unbeatable team the Heat lose to last night. I didn't feel that way. I feel fine moving forward. I do. So, if you tuned in today, I hope ZASLOW's going to make me feel a little bit better. I hope that I do. Now, the only thing surprising that could have come out of these first 2 games, don't forget about this. I love the Heat starting on the road. You know this, because I'm very confident in the Heat in Game 2. But even if the Heat lose Game 2, the only thing surprising that can come out of these first 2 games would be the Heat stealing home court advantage. If Denver wins these 2 games, They're exactly where they're supposed to be. If the Heat win one of these first 2 games, everyone's going to be sounding sirens. So if Denver protects their home court on Sunday, the Heat are going to have to do the same thing. I'm not angry at all. And I told you my attitude when it comes, and I wasn't angry throughout the game. I told you my attitude when it comes to getting to the NBA Finals. You just want a chance to play for the championship. They have a chance to play for the championship. Once you get through I'm a lot more agitated. The Heat are down by 5 points against the Celtics. I want to kick a hole in the TV. I was not agitated or angry at any moment during the game last night. Number one, I think the Heat are going to win this series. But number two, you want a chance to play for the championship. That's what the Eastern Conference tournament's about. And once you get through the Eastern Conference tournament, we're here. We're playing for the championship. Now let's do it. I'm so much more agitated during the Eastern Conference playoffs than I am in the NBA Finals. Because we're here. We did it. We're playing for the championship. And that's all you can ask for. So, I'm not aggravated right now. I wasn't aggravated last night. And I still feel really good about this series. It is true, though. The Heat were down by at most 23 last night? It's fine. All right, we're not going to win this one. Let's get Sunday. The Heat are up 3-0 against the Celtics. We're down by 5 in the fourth quarter. I want to kick a hole in the TV. It's an incredible difference in the end of the spectrum, that experience. Sorry, take a sip of my coffee there. Not angry, it'll be fine. I did tell my son last night, by the way. And this is the first time, it's an unusual spot for us now, right? Because this is the first time in the postseason that the Heat are trailing in a series. It's the first time this postseason that the Heat are not in control of a series. The Heat have been up at least 2 games on everyone. Boston 3 games because we took that ass. The only way we're going to be up multiple games on Denver is if we win the next 3. That ain't happening, So it's an odd situation for us this postseason. But I told my son, and he wouldn't know this because my older son was 4 years old when the Heat won the championship in 2013. So he was at Game 6 of the Ray Allen shot, but he was 4. He does not remember. He hasn't experienced one of his teams winning a championship. And I told him last night, he was a little bit upset. I told him last night that the Heat's, and he wouldn't know this. And I said to him, the 3 championships that the Heat won, I went up to him, he was about to take a shower, I opened the bathroom door, I said, hey, the Heat's first 3 championships that they won? And he knew what I was getting at. He goes, they lost game 1? He was asking me, but he knew what I was getting at. The Heat's first 3 championships that they won? They lost game 1? Yes. Yes. Now, what do those teams have to do with this one? Nothing. Unless, Heat culture, the attitude, the mentality, the toughness, that carries over. These teams are built in similar fashion mentally. So that can be a carryover where this team is not going to wilt. They're not going to be scared. Jimmy's never scared. You got a coach who's been through it all. But, yeah. The 3 championships the Miami Heat won, down 0-1 each time. They lost the first 2 games in Dallas in 2006. They lost game 1 in Oklahoma City, 2012. They lost game 1 at home to San Antonio. Remember, Tony Parker hit the shot late, put them up by 4. That game go to overtime? It may have. 2013. So, the 3 championships that the Heat won, they lost game 1 in all of them. Matter of fact, now in the 7 finals appearances for the Heat are 1-6 in game 1. They suck in game 1 in the NBA Finals. 1-6. The one that they won was, what was the one? 2011. 2011 against Dallas. And of course they lost that series. 1-6 in game 1s in the NBA Finals. Boy, don't be afraid to take a series lead in game 1, Heat. That's a terrible job. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be a long series. Don't make yourself crazy, all right? And I'm super confident about the Panthers, by the way. Hey, let me tell you guys about water cleanup of Florida. This is super important. We've had storms, terrible rain over the last couple months. If you think you may have a water leak in your home, this needs to be dealt with immediately. And I'm sending you to Water Cleanup of Florida because I want to make sure you get taken care of by the best. I want to make sure you don't have this massive issue. I'm sending you to Water Cleanup of Florida because I've known the Greensteins most of my life. Childhood friends, family friends. They have over 60 years combined experience. Their team is prepared to handle all types of leak detection issues 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. After Water Cleanup of Florida locates and repairs the leak, Water Cleanup of Florida then cleans, dries, and fully restores the damaged areas. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635, serving the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635, or go to WCUFL.com. Make sure you check. You don't have to believe me how great they are. Go check out more than 80 5-star reviews on Google. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. So, I'm also watching on the television. Actually, let me do a little bit NBA, and then I'll get back to a few more thoughts on the Heat here. So, Adam Silver last night, like the commissioner does every year, Game 1 of the NBA Finals, he's going to have media availability. He's going to have some availability for the press. He's going to hold a press conference. And obviously, he was asked about Ja Morant. And you tell me, I'll play the clip for you here. You know, he said that we're not putting out we're not going to, like he said, we could have wrapped this up by now, but we don't want to take away from the teams playing in the finals. That's a good move, okay? We're talking about it today, and then we're not going to talk about it again until it's announced after the finals. But it sounds like Adam Silver is Salt commissioner in sports, but it sounds like Adam Silver is about to drop the hammer down on Ja Morant.
So in assessing what discipline is appropriate, if that's the case, we look at both the history of prior acts, but then we look at the individual player's history as well. And so that and the seriousness, of course, of the conduct. So those are all things that get factored. It's not an exact science. It comes down to judgment at the end of the day on the part of me and my colleagues in the league office. In terms of the timing, we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. I think since I was still asked about the situation, I would say we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us, that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of the series to announce the results of that investigation. And given that we're, of course, in the off season, he has now been suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies indefinitely, and so nothing would have changed anyway in the next few weeks. It seemed better to park that at the moment, at least any public announcement. And my sense now is that shortly after the conclusion of the finals.
Yeah, that sounds to me like the commissioner is about to really bring down the thunder on Ja Morant. Which, I mean, what does that mean? You're probably getting half a season. Can it be more? Yeah. But I would say the tone there, we uncovered a fair amount of additional information. Like that statement right there, we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. How could that bode well for Ja Morant? Like, we uncovered a fair amount of additional information that shows that he didn't do anything wrong? Or would it be we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information that uncover he is in big trouble and we have to take serious action? Like, you got to lean toward the latter on that one, right? So that was obviously headlines last night and all throughout the day today. Also, the Celtics, Brad Stevens, they did exit interviews, I guess, yesterday. Excuse me. Brad Stevens, president of the Celtics, said they are keeping Joe Mazzulla next year. And that's fine. Look, I think all of his assistants left yesterday, too. Or 2 days ago. They all went and joined Ime Udoka in Houston, which is weird. Like, they left right after Game 7, the day after, which means that they knew all through that series that they were not staying on board with this team. It's kind of shitty. Like, that's shitty that they knew, but, like, it's shitty that they were talking and discussing with Ime Udoka. Like, that's shitty. Now, did that undermine Joe Mazzulla? I don't know. Probably not. But it is the fair thing to do. Allow him to have his own coaching staff. Allow him to have a whole off season. I think the way that you get rid of Joe Mazzulla, and I've already told you, why do coaches have to be a finished product in their first year? Brad Stevens appointed Joe Mazzulla because he felt, all right, this guy was going to grow into a great coach. Not he's going to be a finished product right now. Like, Eric Spoelstra, I'm pretty sure, was a much better coach by year 5, 6, 7 than he was his first year when the Heat lost in the first round to the Atlanta Hawks. The only way that you fire Joe Mazzulla, which I thought was possible, but the only way that you fire Joe Mazzulla, there's two reasons. Number one, he's horrendous with the media, which is not a reason to fire him, but he's the face of the franchise, he's the voice of the franchise, and the voice of the franchise comes off as a total asshole. And if you pair that with Brad Stevens saying, wow, I was wrong, there's some major red flags with Joe as a head coach, I'm going to cut bait now. I thought that was possible. But unless you saw that, yeah, you got to bring him back. You got to bring him back. I also think, by the way, look, I don't feel bad for the Celtics. I'll laugh at a Celtic fan's face. But it's always F the Celtics in the ZASLOW mansion. But the talk, and do I want to give Jaylen Brown $300 million? Nope. But the talk about you got to break up the Celtic team, it's run its course. Run its course. They have a chance to win a championship every single year. They were in the East Finals in 2020. They got to the finals in 22. They got to Game 7 of the East Finals in 23. I mean, it was embarrassing the way the Heat took their ass. But you break up a team that's there every year? Like, we were talking about breaking up the Heat when they're down in the fourth quarter against Chicago in the play-in game. It's a little bit different. So, that's silliness. So, a little bit on John Morant there, a little bit on Joe Mazzulla. Anyway, hey, before we move on, I want it because we got to get to big game, not a big game. Let me give you a little bit more on the Heat from last night. I do want to mention, like, I got the, First Take. I got those shows on this one. When I wake up in the morning, I listen to two shows. I listen to SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio Morning Men, Evan Cohen, Mike Bagchick, Willie Colon, my all-time favorite show. I also listen SiriusXM NBA Radio, starting lineup, Frank Isola, Brian Scalabrine. Those are my two shows. Listen every morning. But I'll have the TV on in the background. I got on First Take. I just want to look at the headlines. I don't care about any of their opinions. I don't care about Stephen A's opinion. I don't care about Goontime Kendrick Perkins' opinion. I definitely don't care about JJ Redick's opinion. But I want to see the headlines. So, like one of the headlines, are the Heat in deep trouble? How can the Heat be in deep trouble? It's along the same lines where if Denver, and any team, by the way, who has home court advantage and wins the first two games, series is over. Yeah, series is over before both teams have played a home game. You know that's such a major pet peeve of mine. I hate that shit. How can this series be over after one game? Series is over. Or the Heat are in deep trouble. The Heat can't win game 2. They can't win a road game. Now, there's a difference between series being over and thinking Team X is going to win. Those are two different things. I mean, I think the Heat are going to win this series. Does that mean the series is over? Those are two different things. How can the Heat be in deep trouble? Like, if you thought the Heat had a chance in this series, how does Game 1 change your opinion? If you think they have a chance, how does Denver winning a game at home change your opinion? Like, did you think they were going to sweep the Nuggets? Because if you thought the Heat were going to sweep the Nuggets, then, okay, I could see your opinion changing after Game 1. How did Game 1 change your opinion? It's like, when the Heat lose, the Heat lose in Game 1, it's like, I feel, it's like when the Panthers go down 1-0 early in a game, whichever game in the series. It's like, let's say Vegas tomorrow night. Vegas scores in the first 90 seconds. All right. We weren't going to win by a shutout. Got to score some goals. Like, that's how I felt. That's how I feel after yesterday. All right. Well, we're not going to sweep them. We were never going to sweep them. The Heat in deep trouble. Come on, get your shit together. Now, I haven't been on Twitter very much since the start of last night's game. But I don't want to hear about officiating. Like, I don't know that there were any real moments last night where I was annoyed with the officiating. I'm prepared to be annoyed when Tony Brothers, who is on the officiating crew for the finals, I don't know which game he has, but I am prepared to be super annoyed when the worst official in the league, Tony Brothers, is out there. The Heat shot an NBA Finals record low 2 free throws. It was Haywood Highsmith who took the 2, made them both. How about the Heat shot an NBA Finals record 100% from the free throw line? Has anyone brought that up? Look, the Heat were not aggressive enough at getting to the basket. Everything was from the perimeter. Everything was a jump shot. The reason the Heat didn't win yesterday was because they missed all kinds of open jump shots, all kinds of open three-pointers. But, you know, it's when a team, they only had 2 free throws. Do you feel like the Heat were attacking the basket? I mean, think back. How many times were the Heat attacking the rim and you thought they got fouled? I don't think there were any instances that the Heat attacked the basket and I thought they got fouled. I didn't feel that way at all. The Heat weren't aggressive enough. That's why they took 2 free throws. And this is going to be a big theme moving forward. And I don't think we're going to see it again. It's almost like if the Heat were going to lose game 1, only shooting 2 free throws is a good thing. Because that's going to be a theme now. Just like the players are human, the officials are human, it's going to be in their head now. I think the Heat are going to get a parade to the free throw line in game 2. Not because they deserve it, because they got screwed in game 1, but this is now a theme. And if the Heat were going to lose game 1, let something so stupid like only shooting 2 free throws happen. This is now going to be a theme moving forward, and I think the Heat are going to get to the line in game 2. So, I don't want to hear any complaining, though, about the free throws. The Heat didn't earn more than 2 free throws. They didn't deserve more than 2 free throws. All right, you know what time it is. You're saying to yourself, ZASLOW, there's so much going on this weekend. I need you to tell me. I need your help. I gotta know. Is it a big game? Or is it not a big game? Big game or not a big game? Every Friday, brought to us by Brunt Insurance. I love it. At my son's moving up ceremony last night at Poznak School, had one of the mothers of one of the students there come right up to me, said she's a huge fan of the show, also said she's called Brunt Insurance. She's looking for that affordable, most comprehensive insurance rate out there. I was like, that's so amazing. You gotta support the sponsors that support the show. I was so happy to hear that. I've gotten that from several listeners who have reached out about my man Greg Brunt and his fully licensed staff at Brunt Insurance who are giving out the best insurance rates out there. My renewal's up next month. I know I'm getting the best rate anywhere. I don't need to shop around at other insurance agencies. I go to 954-589-2204. I know that I can't go out there and decide which insurance I'm going to use. The market is confusing. I go to bruntinsurance.com or I call 954-589-2204, and Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, fully licensed staff, doesn't matter where you're calling from, they know your area because Brunt Insurance is serving Pensacola all the way down to the Keys. I've been with my home insurance, my homeowner's insurance through Brunt Insurance for 10 years now. I'm set. I never have to look around. I know I'm getting the best care. I know I'm getting the most affordable price. I know that no matter what happens to my home, I'm going to be covered because of Brunt Insurance. Also, hey, if you rent, renter's insurance. If you're in a condo, condo insurance. Bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Let's get to big game or not a big game. First up tonight, 6:40, Bally Sports, Florida. Oakland Athletics at your Miami Marlins. Now, the Marlins just came off of a series loss, all right? Very disappointing. The Marlins coming off a sweep of the Angels, all right? The Marlins just came off a series loss to the San Diego Padres, and they lost yesterday 10-1. Terrible job. So the Marlins now just a game over 500 at 29-28. They take on a 3-game series at home against the Oakland Athletics, who are a Major League Baseball worst 12-46. Honestly, you got to sweep this team. It's so stupid. But nonetheless, tonight, and it's Edward Cabrera on the mound for the Marlins. Marlins, Athletics, not a big game. There's too much going on. I got to relax my brain tonight before tomorrow night and Sunday night. Okay, anyway. Friday, that's tonight. 8 p.m. Fox. WWE SmackDown. Tonight is a major night because it's the 1,000-day championship reign celebration for the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And of course, this is coming off of Sunday night's Night of Champions, where the bloodline has fractured. The Usos have split from the bloodline. Jimmy Uso kicked Roman Reigns in the face. In the face! What is the fallout tonight on SmackDown? SmackDown's going to draw a very big number tonight. WWE SmackDown, the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns' championship reign. That's a big game. All right, everybody calm down. Big game or not a big game? Saturday, 7:30, Apple Plus, DC United at Inter Miami. Now, we got some Inter Miami news coming up. We'll get to that in big deal or not a big deal. But Inter Miami, they lost again last night. 2 nights ago, sorry. They lost 2 nights ago. 1-0 at home to New York Red Bulls. They never scored. They didn't score the game before that either. Inter Miami is a dreadful soccer club. They have dropped to 5-10-0. They are last place in the Eastern Conference. Any Inter Miami game at this point. And DC United, by the way, they're 5-5-6. They're 8th in the East, so they're pretty good. Any Inter Miami game at this point is not a big game. Who are we kidding here? You know, I'm an inaugural season ticket holder. All right, let's keep it moving. Tomorrow night, now let's get to the main courses. Saturday, 8 p.m., TNT. Florida Panthers, your Eastern Conference champion. Florida Panthers at the Western Conference champion, Las Vegas Knights. Game 1. It's the Knights' second Stanley Cup final appearance in their 6-year existence. It's the Panthers' second Stanley Cup final appearance in their 29-year existence and their first appearance in 27 years. I couldn't be more excited for the Panthers tomorrow night. They've won 11 of their last 12 playoff games since trailing Boston 3-1. You got the best goaltender in the world right now, Sergei Bobrovsky. You got a well-rested Panther team. I don't think that equals rust. I think the rest is a good thing. I am so fired up for tomorrow night. Panthers at Knights, Game 1, Stanley Cup Finals. That's a big game. You know it. Finally, all right, everybody calm down. Finally, one more. Sunday, 8 p.m., ABC, that's the American Broadcasting Company. Miami Heat, your Eastern Conference champion, at the Denver Nuggets. Game 2. Another opportunity for the Heat to steal home court advantage. An opportunity for the Heat to let everybody know this is going to be a long series. Can the Heat knock down open jump shots? Can Jimmy Butler be better than 16 points? Can the Heat get to the free throw line? I think the answer to all of those questions is a resounding yes. The Heat will win on Sunday. Heat at Nuggets, Game 2. That's a big game. You know what I'm talking about. Bad news for the Nuggets. And that right there is another edition. A big game or not a big game. Brought to us by Brunt Insurance. Get your insurance at bruntinsurance.com. Auto, life insurance, boat, motorcycle, and of course, like I told you, the best rates anywhere. I get my homeowner's insurance from Brunt Insurance. 954-589-2204. Hey, don't forget, at Sheets Giggles on Twitter, let my man Colin, the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, let him know he's thinking of putting together, very seriously, thinking of putting together a watch party, get-together kind of deal for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is a week from tomorrow night, next Saturday. It'll be somewhere close to the arena. There's going to be a bar tab, I believe. I'll be there. I think Chris Cody from the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody is going to be there. I think Roy Bellamy, also from the Dan Le Batard Show, will be there. And it seems like there's a good response to this. So let Colin know at Sheets Giggles. Hit him up. Say, I would love to come out and hang out. If you got tickets to the game, then you come over to the game with us because I believe we're going to Game 4. Otherwise, you hang out there. We're all going to get loose. Also, sheetsgiggles.com. The only bed sheets you're ever going to use for the rest of your life. The ZASLOW family, we're now 4 of over 100,000 Americans who sleep on Sheets and Giggles. We're never shopping anywhere else. Sheetsgiggles.com for that naturally softer, cooler, more breathable. We're talking sustainably made via lyocell process from eucalyptus trees. That's right, on sustainably managed biodiverse farms. How about this? They don't touch an ancient or endangered forest, and 2 new trees are planted on their farms every time 1 is harvested. How about that? So my man Colin not only cares about all of us getting great sleep, also cares about the earth and the environment. I got the comforter, I got the eucalyptus pillow, I got the sheets, I got the fitted sheet, I got the pillowcases. Go to Sheets and Giggles, sheetsgiggles.com. You'll thank me. You'll thank my pal Colin later. All right. So, tonight, you're looking for something to do, right? You got no Heat tonight. You got no Panthers tonight. And maybe you're saying to yourself, Zaslow, I gotta do a little bit of family time. I gotta get in on that family time action. So you gotta tell me, Zaslow, is it a big movie? Or is it not a big movie? All right, big movie or not a big movie? I got a few for you here. Let's start off this movie. Actually, this movie's been out for a few weeks, and I haven't gotten around to it. This movie is called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. All right, here's what it is. It's rated R. It's got brief drug content. It's got violence. It's got language throughout. It's a war drama action kind of movie. Obviously, it's directed by Guy Ritchie, and it's been out for a few weeks. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, top Jew. It also stars Dar Salim, Anthony Starr, Alexander Ludwig. All right, here's what it's about. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant follows U.S. Army Sergeant John Kinley, and Afghan interpreter Ahmed. After an ambush, Ahmed goes to Herculean lengths to save Kinley's life. When Kinley learns that Ahmed and his family were not given safe passage to America as promised, he must repay his debt by returning to the war zone to retrieve them before the Taliban hunts them down first. Rotten Tomatoes media score is a certified fresh 82%. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 98%. I think this movie looks awesome. I don't know why I didn't get around to it earlier. It's been out for a little while now. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. That's a big movie. I love movies like that. All right. This movie here is called The Boogeyman. Whoa. It stars Jimmy Butler. No, that's not true. The Boogeyman is rated PG-13. It's got terror. It's got teen drug use. It's got some strong language. It has violent content. It's a horror movie. It's out in theaters today. It stars Chris Messina and Sophie Thatcher. Here's what it's about. High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are reeling from the recent death of their mother and aren't getting much support from their father. Will, a therapist who is dealing with his own pain, oh, that's the father, sorry. When a desperate patient unexpectedly, this is why grammar's important, kids. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their home seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims. Rotten Tomatoes media score, 63%. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 74%. Now, you know how I feel about horror movies that are rated PG-13. This is PG-13. I know there's a different standard these days than when I was a kid, but I'm weary of horror movies that look really scary but are rated PG-13. Nonetheless, I'm going to go against my good judgment I think this movie looks good. I'm going The Boogeyman. That's a big movie. All right, I got time for one more for you here. Big movie or not a big movie? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's right. Out in theaters today. It's rated PG. It's an action animated film. It's Marvel. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. It stars Shameik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, who I love, Oscar Isaac, Jake Johnson, Issa Rae, Daniel Kaluuya. What a great cast. Here's what it's about. Miles Morales returns for the next chapter of the Oscar-winning Spider-Verse saga, an epic adventure that will transport Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man across the multiverse to join forces with Gwen Stacy and a new team of Spider people to face off with a villain more powerful than anything they have ever encountered. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Rotten Tomatoes media score, certified fresh, 96%. Audience score, 97%. I already got tickets to see it. I'm actually taking my kid, my son Jordan, who never misses these movies. I'm taking him and his friends. We're actually going next week. So no spoilers. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that's a big movie. You know it. And that right there is another edition of Big Movie or Not a Big Movie. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. All right, very good. What a show today. So I hope I'm making you guys feel better out the Heat loss last night. I really feel fine. It's going to be hard as hell. I mean, you think getting through the Eastern Conference is hard. How about winning the NBA Finals? You don't think that's going to be hard as hell? Of course, it's going to be so hard.